San Jose State University's women's volleyball team is back in the headlines as more shocking details are revealed about transgender athlete Blair Fleming. Now, the team's co-captain, Brooke Slusser, and several teammates have now filed a lawsuit against the university and the Mountain West Conference, and the suit is alleging that Slusser's safety, dignity, and rights had been endangered by the presence of the trans athlete, and that athlete was also given a scholarship over a biological female player who was left financially and emotionally impacted. But it gets worse. The lawsuit also alleges that one of Slusser's teammates learned about an alleged plan by Fleming to ensure San Jose State would lose an October 3rd match and set up Colorado State player Malaya Jones to spike Slusser in the face during that game.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So we have some updates in this lawsuit against the Mountain West Conference. So 12 women from 4 different schools, and including Melissa Batie-Smoose, associate head coach for SJSU, they have filed a lawsuit against the Mountain West Conference for violations of Title IX and First Amendment rights. The lawsuit mentions the alleged plot brought to light by Melissa Batie-Smoose in her Title IX complaint, and it's supposed to be between Blair Fleming, the transgender player, and a CSU player, Malaya Jones. The plot alleges that Blair Fleming agreed to throw the game and not block for Brooke Slusser, allowing her to get spiked in the face. So what we know so far about the alleged plot is that there's no evidence that SJSU are even investigating this plot. Brooke Slusser herself said she's not been asked about it, at least since the last time I reported on it. No evidence that the NCAA are investigating it, but Mountain West did say that they are investigating. The coach, Todd Kress, he admitted that Blair Fleming did leave the hotel room that night, going against the team rules, and said that the 2 players did meet. But he says it was all a joke. They never meant anything by it. However, some players from SJSU who are part of the lawsuit said that they were privy to this information. One in particular said that she was aware of the plot. She was very distraught about the alleged plot, and the other 2 girls persuaded her to come forward and let the coaches know that this is what they were planning. So the players who were aware of the plot certainly didn't take it to be a joke. So Melissa Batie-Smoose believes this was a serious plot, so much so that she mentioned it in her Title IX complaint. And players from SJSU believe it was a serious plot as well. But as of now, Mountain West have released the findings of their alleged investigation, and they are saying that there's no evidence that this plot took place. They've looked at the statistics of the game, and they're saying that there was no plot. And the matter is now closed, according to them. The Mountain West Conference says its investigation into an allegation that San Jose State transgender volleyball player Blair Fleming colluded with Colorado State's Malaya Jones to throw the October 3 match between the 2 schools found no evidence to corroborate the claim. In a letter sent to the athletic directors for the SJSU and CSU, which was obtained by Fox News Digital, the conference did not find sufficient evidence of claims in a recent Title IX complaint. As Outkick reported previously, San Jose State associate head coach Melissa Batie-Smoose filed a Title IX complaint that alleged, among other things, that Blair Fleming visited Malaya Jones the night before a match, and the 2 concocted a plan to injure SJSU co-captain Brooke Slusser. The allegation also appears in a lawsuit filed against the Mountain West Conference last week, in which 12 women are suing the conference for suppression of their First Amendment rights stemming from SJSU's inclusion of the transgender player on its volleyball team.
Brooke, this is a wild, wild story. Now, walk us very quickly through the details of what seems like you're alleging is a setup by the transgender player to injure you?
Yes, and I didn't find out about this information until after the game had happened. But after finding out that they basically planned to give each other their scouting reports and leave the block down so that the ball could easily be swung at me during a game, was astonishing to me to find that information out. It was incredibly insane.
Well, what, just to get back at you, or what they betting on the game? Like, what's the rationale here?
Yeah, they just both were very angry that I had decided to join the lawsuit with Riley Gaines and Icons, and basically decided that they wanted to not block the crossball, which means the other team would have open court to swing towards me, and giving the other player the opportunity to basically slam the ball as hard as she could at me, with the Blair leaving the block wide open.
So Mountain West is saying that they have spoken to an undisclosed number of students at SJSU and CSU, and that they have spoken to both head coaches. They also say that they have studied the match statistics with the help of professionals, looking into whether matches have been thrown or not, and they're saying that there's no evidence. The conference says it also reviewed the tape and statistics of the match in question and consulted with the league's sports wagering compliance partner with regard to contest manipulation considerations. There is insufficient evidence to corroborate the allegations of misconduct related to the SJSU versus CSU volleyball competition played October 2, 2024, the letter reads. Now, after this letter was released from the lawyers of SJSU, the lawyers of the plaintiffs in this lawsuit, they pointed out some of the errors that were spotted in the letter, and they are not satisfied with this letter being the only evidence of an investigation. They need more information. It's important to note that while the letter states the match was played on October 2, that is incorrect. The match was played on October 3. The letter said in part, as a result, the conference office has determined no disciplinary action is warranted and considers the matter closed. And as we know, there is evidence to suggest that occasionally transgender players may throw their game or throw a competition in order to not be so obvious, in order to take the heat off of themselves, especially when everybody's saying that they have an advantage, that they have an unfair advantage over the female athletes, to make it look like they're not that different from the female athletes. And Outkick goes on to say the following. While the Mountain West says it reviewed the game tape and statistics of the October 3 match and found no evidence of collusion, it's worth noting that Blair Fleming played one of the worst games of the season. Fleming committed 10 hitting errors in that match, the most Fleming committed in any match this year. So CSU ended up winning that match 3-0. SJSU lost in straight sets. And this Saturday, the two schools played again, and SJSU just happened to win that match. Fleming had 26 kills and scored a match high of 26 points, and also had the match-winning ace.
Fleming with the serve. No shoot. Moto isn't able to receive it cleanly, so the San Jose State Spartans take this one 15-10 in the fifth. 27-25, 25-18, 25-17, 25-19, and in the fifth, 15-10. San Jose State gets the first win of the year over the Colorado State Rams. They'll advance to 14-5 .
So more eyes are going to be on the Mountain West tournament that begins November 27, as SJSU have secured their spot. So the lawyers for the plaintiff released their own letter demanding more information because they're not convinced, demanding that the Mountain West Conference release all documents pertaining to the investigation of the collusion allegation against Blair Fleming. They characterized the investigation as rushed, sloppy, incomplete, and infected with bias. Because the MWC's investigation was inadequate and anything but thorough, and because the MWC's closeout letter is riddled with errors, the undersigned is issuing this rebuttal and demands that the MWC immediately and publicly release 1. The investigative report prepared by its investigation. 2. All documents connected with the MWC's claimed thorough investigation and upon which the MWC's decision not to proceed further was based. According to the lawyers, they haven't interviewed Melissa Batie-Smoose or Brooke Slusser. How on earth can you claim to have investigated this thoroughly and not interviewed the associate head coach, who brought this to light and not interview the person who was targeted? She can tell you whether there's a motive to target her. Maybe there's been other incidents that have shown that she is a target as a result of this lawsuit, that she has reason to feel and believe that they want to target her. According to the lawsuit filed last week and the earlier Title IX complaint, Batie-Smoose alerted SJSU head coach Todd Kress of a plot by Fleming and Colorado State player Malaya Jones to fix a match between the teams that would target Slusser with powerful spikes. According to the lawsuit, SJSU player Chandler Manusky recounted that Fleming and Jones had discussed Fleming throwing the game and how they would set up Jones to blow up Slusser and blast her in the face during the game. That doesn't sound like a joke to me, but whatever. The MWC evidently cared so little about getting to the bottom of what actually happened that it was unwilling to even wait to conclude its investigation until after these key witnesses could be interviewed, the response letter states. Now, I assumed they had interviewed these women. Obviously, the lawyers are saying they didn't even interview the one person that can actually point towards whether or not this was serious. According to Manusky, this was serious to the point where she was in tears, and the MWC haven't even bothered to speak to her? If that's true, this investigation is anything but thorough. At best, the MWC's refusal to interview Batie-Smoose and Slusser is more evidence of a rushed investigation. At worst, it is evidence of the MWC's bias. Now, obviously, they have a bias towards allowing males to compete in women's competitions. They've done nothing about it, but make excuses and hide behind the NCAA. So I can only conclude that they're okay with males competing in women's competitions. They're okay with this. They seem to only interview the people who are okay with this, who are okay with transgender players, male athletes competing in women's competitions. People like Todd Kress, who essentially admitted that he's a trans rights activist and feels it's his duty to protect disenfranchised groups. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.